Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany, and first, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to my first video on this channel. I was really in a very negative headspace when I filmed that video, and it's been a couple of weeks, and I'm in a better place mentally. I'm in a better place mentally because I'm still, searching, for my next career. I'm trying to transition from one job industry to another, and I'm still on that journey. I am definitely seeing things in a more positive light, but I left that video kind of on a weird note. But what I was trying to say at the end is that, which has actually been a month ago, my uncle had called me to see how I was doing, and he typically calls me pretty often, to check up on me. And as usual, he asked me, how I've been doing, and I didn't want to tell him the truth. My family knows how I am, and if they ask me if I'm, how I've been doing, I usually will just say I'm okay, whether, you know, um, everything is going wonderful in my life or if I feel like the sky is falling. I usually just be like, oh, I've been okay, just taking it one day at a time. I go off of like a script. Like, I'm telling you right now, like I really feel like my family knows that I don't tell them the truth. And I really hate that because, it is a sin to lie. And just flat out lie, just to lie. But I feel like my family knows that I am, protecting them, I think, really truly from my emotions, because if I just always just told people how I just really truly felt, you know, I would feel like people would feel like I'm trauma dumping. You know, I don't want to tell my family every little detail, especially when there's something, not necessarily going right, because I know that life is lifing for them too. And I know that my family's not telling me everything that's going on in their lives either. And I know that from my point of view, I feel like I tend to be the last person to know a lot of things, just because my family knows that I went through a very traumatic, horrific experience when my mom passed away. And I am still trying to process that. Even though it's been almost 4 years ago, I am just still, like, there's so many more layers to that situation that is just kind of just lingering in my life. And my family doesn't want to put more on me than they feel like I can bear. So, like, when there's people in the family that's in the hospital, there's people in the family that's sick, there's people in the family that's going through whatever, I usually just hear through the grapevine, because I don't, or I should say my family don't want me to be, I guess, in a way, burdened by other people's trials and tribulations. But I'm a big girl. I can handle, I feel like the fact that I could handle the most traumatic day of my life, if I could handle that and get through that and still, get to the other side of it, I can pretty much handle what other people are going through. Okay, I think the worst of truly of my life has already taken place. And now I feel like God has built me up and given me the strength to be able to carry on. But anyways, when my uncle called or whatever, typically he asked me how I'm doing. I usually say I'm okay. But this particular time I just told him, I was like, oh, I've been doing okay. I've been doing okay. But I did just lose my second job. I actually lost my other job a couple of weeks ago, and now I lost my second job, and now I'm just trying to figure out what, to do next. But I'm staying afloat. I'm gonna be okay. And my uncles told me, he said, Tiffany, don't be too prideful that you don't ask for help. When my uncle said that, it made me think about what my therapist had told me a couple of years ago. She said, Tiffany, if you ever get into a bind and you can't find, no, basically she was telling me, if I ever get into a bind and I can use creative problem solving to get to the other side of that problem, then don't ask anyone for help. But if you're ever in a bind and you start stressing and worrying and overwhelming yourself with what's going on, you need to ask for help. I'm realizing that I might be a little bit of a stubborn person. And I'm usually so quick to call somebody else stubborn, hard-headed, complicated. And I might be actually one of those people that I am stubborn, hard-headed, and complicated. Because the uncle that called me that particular day, when I was younger, my mom appointed him to be my guardian if anything ever happened to her while I was a child, Thank God my mom, well, God blessed me to have my mother for 31 years. So my mom was able to raise me to be a grown woman. And that particular uncle, I have three uncles, my mom's siblings. My mom was the oldest and the only girl. But I have three uncles, and they all are different. They represent different things in my life. All three men have been very impactful positively in my life, but they all represent like three different things in my life. But my middle uncle, which is one that had called me that particular day, my mom appointed him as my guardian when I was a kid. And I feel like, I'm just gonna be honest with you, all my life I've always felt like with that particular uncle, I've always been his first honorary child. Like that uncle, like my other two uncles helped raise me with my grandmother and my grandfather assistance as well. So my mom, basically, my mom was blessed to have a village, okay? Unfortunately, people don't have villages nowadays, but my mom had a village when she was taking care of me. But with that particular uncle, I've always felt like I was his honorary first child. And to this day, I feel like that. I feel like all my uncles will do whatever they can to see me succeed, to be happy, to learn from my mistakes, to improve as a person, to be all I can be as as a woman and all this. Like, I feel like my uncles really have my back. But the thing about it, like, how can someone have your back if they don't really know what's actually going on? And most people are not going to be like, Tiffany, you need to stop lying because I know you need some help. Like, people are not going to just offer their help. Most people don't offer their help. Most people are waiting for someone to say, hey, I'm in a bind. Hey, like, I need some advice. Hey, like this. Hey, like that. Like, people want you to come to them. And I think in my brain, the way my brain processes things is I'm like, I just be sometimes wanting people to be like, I'm going to help you. But I understand why people are not just going to just make assumptions that I need help, because, I mean, anybody else would be like, somebody thinks I'm a charity case. I don't think that way. I'm going to be honest with you. If somebody is blessing me, I'm going to take that blessing. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm going to take that blessing. Because nobody has to think about you. Nobody has to do anything for you. But if somebody thinks about you in any way, whether that's if it's money or if it's advice or if it's words of encouragement or they want to send a special prayer to God, people do not have to take time out of their lives to deal with you, to think about you, to care for you. And I think for me, I think it's just, to me, like, I know that this is gonna be weird for me to say, but I just think it's weird to ask for help when you're an adult. I know that sounds really weird, but I just always thought like with my mom, like my mom had the village. So my mom didn't really necessarily ask for help. Everybody just pitched in to help raise me and to take care of me and love me. And I just feel like as an adult, I'm supposed to be able to do all the things that I need to do for myself without having to lean on someone else. And I know that sounds insane because we all need somebody. But I just feel like my mom has not even been gone 4 years. And I feel like I've had to, I just feel like I don't even know what to say. I just feel like when I got stable, I was expecting to be stable for a long period of time, not be stable for like 2 years and then be back down on my luck. I wasn't expecting that. Like, I think I got comfortable knowing that God blessed me to get back on my feet, to have that downtime to grieve my mother's death for a year, get back on my feet, and be able to just keep me pushing forward. And then I feel like I'm going backwards right now because I'm still, trying to transition. Pretty much will take any job right now just so that I can, make ends meet. But I still want to transition out of what I'm doing right now. I don't know. I just remember my uncle a couple of years ago saying the same thing when I got in a really tight bind. And I just really just felt like it was just one thing after another at that time. Let's go through the list, okay? This was late 2023. And what had happened at that time? I think it was like my hot water heater had went out. My air conditioner had went out. My little first sister, which was my mom's miniature poodle, had just passed away. I was trying to find a second job at that time. And it was something else that had happened, and it all happened within like a week's time. Well, no. Let me go back just a little bit. The air conditioner had been out for probably like 3 months before I ever said anything to anybody. So I was in a house, no fans, no type of air coming through. It was just hot. And thank God it was not hot as going to hell, but it was hot, almost like I felt like I was melting. That's how hot it was. So it was me and my little first sister living in the house, no air conditioner. I'm trying to find a second job at that time so I could try to get the air conditioner fixed. Water heater goes out. This different things were just taking place all at the same time. That same uncle reached out to me, and I think I just broke down. Because I had let it go too long. I don't remember saying too much. I just knew I needed help. And I just didn't want to ask for it. Because I kept saying, I'm an adult now. My mom is gone. I'm supposed to be responsible for this house. So whatever's going on right now, you got to get through it by yourself, Tiffany. That's what I was thinking. And my uncle, it was my uncle and my baby uncle. I called my baby uncle because we're 11 years apart. He's 11 years older than me. And they was on speakerphone. And my middle uncle told me at that time that he was like, you need to put your pride aside and start asking for help. And he just said it just like that, just that stern. And I appreciate him just always being honest with me when it comes to how he feels, how I act when I need help or something's really going on. I love that my uncle will call me out. I love the fact that we're that close where he'll call me out when he feels some type of way about how I'm dealing with something or whatever's going on. I just love that. And I just told him, after he told me that, I told him, I was like, but I'm supposed to be able to handle this. I'm supposed to be able to, deal with this by myself. And he said, he called me by my nickname. And he was like, nobody can live through this life by themselves. You're going to always need somebody. You're always going to need some type of help at some point in your life. I have to ask for help. That's what he was saying. And it made me feel better. It did. It made me feel better. But I still never really actually asked for the help. So like a couple days had went by, and my first sister had got really sick, and I didn't know it. I didn't know she was sick. I just thought she was constipated, and I was like, I don't have any money to even take her to the vet if she's constipated. So I had went to the store, got like those suppositories, did what I had to do, inserted it where it needed to go, and she was really acting. She just wasn't acting like herself. I didn't have the money. The thing about it, I had just started the second job. Like literally that was like the first weekend of my second job. And I didn't have the money. Couldn't even really afford to be off. But I did what I had to do for my little first sister. So my sister of another mister who I met in college, but couldn't make us any closer. I contacted her. I didn't even ask her for help. I just broke down. I recorded a video to her. It was probably 30 seconds. And I just told her everything that I was going through. I just literally had diarrhea in the mouth. And I just told her everything just came out. My first sister is sick and I don't have the money to take her to the vet. This is going on. She calls me after she looks at the video. She says, Tiffany, go to the nearest vet emergency as soon as possible. She stayed on the phone with me the entire time as I drove my first sister to the emergency room. I was probably there maybe a couple of hours, and she stayed on the phone with me because my sister, again, blood couldn't make us any closer. She paid for the vet bills. And she paid for the cremation of my first sister. So I left my house without her and came back by myself that day. But my mom always wanted her fur baby, which her name was Baby. We called her Baby Nichelle. And it was a combination of me and my mom's middle name merged together. But her first name was Baby. And my mom always wanted, if something ever happened to Baby, that she wanted her to be cremated. And my sister of another mister made my mom's wish for her fur baby come true. And so she's like in this beautiful urn. And it says on the urn her full name, and then it says the Chicken Bandit. And that's a whole a whole story behind that little name or whatever. But my sister had paid for the vet fees, had paid for the cremation, the urn, paid for the air conditioner to get fixed. I believe I had like a little money like in my savings so I could get my hot water heater not fixed. I had to get it completely replaced. And I got that all this stuff got taken care of by God putting it on my sister's heart to bless me to get more comfortable, to get back more comfortable, you know. And I feel like I'm leaving parts out because it was a couple of months prior to all of this stuff kind of hitting me, and I just couldn't take it anymore, that my sister texted me, and I think I told her what was going on with the air conditioner, and she said, Tiffany, I know you're not going to ever ask me for help, but can I send you some fans? Can I buy you some fans through Amazon and get them sent to your house? And I said, no, you don't have to worry about me. She sent the fans anyways. 3 big fans, and I was able to put them throughout the house. But I was just not allowing anybody truly to help me because I was just like, in my head, I was like, I got to go through this by myself. This is just another storm. I'm going to get through it. Like, everything's going to be okay. Like, I keep telling myself, everything's going to be okay. Like, sometimes I get tired of the word okay. Like, let's be real. I'm tired of the word okay. The word okay means exactly what? Because when I use it, it's pretty much I'm lying to my friends and family about my life. You know, and I feel like with my family, you know, like with strangers, like, you can be out somewhere and pass a stranger and be like, hi, how you doing? And some people would just say that because it sounds nice. It's it makes you seem friendly or whatever. But I'm one of the type of people when I ask somebody how they're doing, I really want to know, even if I don't know you. You know, I really want to know how people are doing, but at the same time, I don't be wanting people to worry about me. I don't want people to worry about me. But I still have not asked for help. And my uncle has called several times since, that a month ago. And again, I know my family knows I don't tell them the truth. But that's just like, I had a cousin who had texted me the other day. And she was telling me, she was like, us all as, the younger cousins, we need to get together and, start checking on the elders and, just going around and make sure they had dinner that day, or if they need, us to go pick up medicine or something, like just start trying to just start checking up on our elders. And to me, I don't know, I guess what I said may have kind of came off rude, but I told my cousin, I was like, I feel like people need to ask us for help, or if they want us to, be coming around like that, really just checking on them, because, you never really know how people feel about people just like all of a sudden starting to come by their house and making sure they eat and stuff like that. And I understand where she was coming from, and it's a very kind gesture. But I feel like, to me, like, a lot of people be wanting you to just wait until they want to deal with you. Like, a lot of people take offense if you just all of a sudden come around and you start bringing food, or you start coming around and doing stuff. They start thinking that you don't think that they can do it, or it just always ends up kind of being like, you're doing too much and I didn't ask for this. And I think I'm just kind of just thinking like, maybe that's how people feel about me, is like, oh, if, we may know that Tiffany's not okay, and we may know that Tiffany may never be okay, but we're not going to just start trying to like throw ourselves on her. It's just that I just feel like my family knows that I'm not going to just necessarily be like, I need help. And I feel like people knowing that I'm not going to just outright say I need help, I feel like people should think maybe, well, let's go another route for Tiffany. And again, it's not something like, oh, I'm expecting people to like bless me with money. But, like, some advice that I could have possibly had a few weeks ago probably would have definitely helped me be in a better mental place when it comes to like my house. Because last week I had went to go visit my mom's grave. I usually go visit my mom's grave once a week, sometimes more, but usually I always go my favorite day of the week. So this week, I went to go to my mom's grave site, and I stayed there for a couple of hours. And I was just talking. Like I normally, I talk to my mom, like my mom is here with me. Like, she may be gone in the physical, but she'll always be here in the spiritual with me. So I went there and I was just talking. And I would just tell my mom that, and also, knowing that God was in that, always with us, He was there too. I could feel His presence around me. And but I was just talking, and I was just like, I don't really know what to do. I don't want to lose the house. I don't want to sell the house. I just want to be able to finish paying for the house. And it was just like, all of a sudden, I got like this idea in my head to like get into my phone and go to this particular app. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like the AI app, Chat GPT. And if I can't say Chat GPT, I might say Dirty ENT. Dirty ENT, I think is it Nelly's rap group or something, or the rap label, or whatever. But when I try to say it quickly, I usually say dirty ENT instead of chat GPT. But but anyway, so I went into that out, and something told me, and I believe it was God, because God told me to type in what to do when when you need assistance with paying your mortgage. So I typed that into ChatGPT. ChatGPT gave me like all these options, and one particular one was a hardship assistance application. And they explained to me exactly what it was, that they would like stop payments on my mortgage for like up to 6 months to give me time to get back on my feet. And then like they would reevaluate my situation in 6 months. And if I still, needed more time to find a job or whatever it was, they would extend it out for, a few more months or whatever. But basically it was like, you don't have to pay your mortgage for a certain amount of time. And that money could potentially go to like another section of your bills, so that you could kind of like breathe for, like the next 6 months. Tiffany, is basically what I was telling myself when I was reading the information. So I, said my see you laters to my mom, and I drove to the mortgage company that day, and I sat down with a banker, and I asked her about the hardship assistance program, and she told me about it, and she told me everything that I needed to do. She gave me the application. She gave me her email, and I made an appointment to see the lady the following day at 9 a.m. because I was determined to have every piece of information, every piece of paperwork, documentation that they were asking me on this application. The application was long, 12 pages. They were asking for so much that I had about 70 to 80 pages of information that was going to have to be faxed just to prove that I needed assistance. So before I had went back home that day, I had to go by the library and start printing stuff off, and came home, was looking through different important documentation, and was trying to stack this stuff up, and just writing letters, because you have to write like a couple of letters also to attach to the application, explaining your situation, the whole nine. So I was ready. The next morning I was ready. I was at the bank like 30 minutes early. She didn't come into work till 9. They didn't open until 9. But I was there at 8:30 because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be late for this. Nothing is going to be in the way of me at least applying for this particular program. We went inside. We went through everything. Went through the checklist of everything I needed to have. We did the application together because I was like, I don't want to do it wrong. So I asked her the day before if I could just come in. We could go through all the questions together. Let me know what I needed to fill out, how to say things or whatever I needed to do. So we did the application. We put all the paperwork in order. She faxed it. And that was actually Thursday of last week. That was the Thursday before Good Friday. So, of course, this weekend, I felt really relieved because I was like, I asked her, I said, do people normally get approved for this program? She's like, I've never worked with anyone that didn't get it or didn't, get that assistance. And she was basically telling me, usually give you like 6 months without your mortgage. And she was telling me, she's like, if you have credit cards or if you have a car, you might be able to apply for hardship assistance with those items as well. This lady God finds all these different ways to just really put my mind at ease. And this lady telling me like all these other ways that I could possibly, make things a little easy for myself until I could find a job and get, steady income. It was just, I don't know, it was just the fact that she had this beautiful, useful advice was just amazing. But this weekend I have not felt stressed or worried. I'm leaving it in God's hands. She said it would take probably about 10 days, 10 business days before they would give me an update. Um, I know that God is not going to fail me. Whatever happens, it's part of God's plan. I'm just trying to do whatever I can to be able to keep my home and to, like I say, not lose it or have to sell it. But again, I know that I really truly need to start asking for help. But again, what my therapist told me, use that creative problem solving. At first, I didn't know what she was talking about using creative problem solving, but I almost feel like this is part of creative problem solving, is trying to figure out my own situation by possibly doing things I've never done before. My mom had always paid the house payment. I think it was only one time where she got behind. And my oldest uncle, my mom has three younger brothers. She's the oldest and the only girl. My oldest uncle of the three had told my mom, like, you never want to get behind again because it could take you months before you could catch up. My mom had got behind one time in 19 years, and he was right. I think it took my mom like 3 or 4 months to actually get caught up. I had got behind in 2020. That's another thing too. In 2023, my caregiving job had like cut my hours from, like, I was getting overtime to, like, I think I was doing like 12 hours in one, in a pay period or whatever. And I had got like a month behind on my house payment. And I did not want that to happen this time around. I was like, because it took me like 3 months to catch up. And while you're catching up, you got to remember, you're still having to pay on the house. While you're trying to catch up this payment, you got this payment coming in. And so it's like, you almost just feel like you're just like, everything's caving in on you. You can't make enough money to be able to catch the bills up. And then on top of that, while you're trying to get this one caught up, you got this extra one is coming in, plus you got all your other bills that you have. Like, it was too much. Too much. And then I was thankful that I was able to find the second job when I could, because that's what caught me up, was that second job. But it's just, like I say, now I am just really just in the waiting process. This is about, like I was saying before, God is trying to teach me about patience. And all I'm doing right now is just calmly being patient and just seeing what happens next. I'm standing still, but still trying to be productive in ways. I write online, and that's considered like a side hustle to me, because I made 3 figures a month doing that. And that money fluctuates. But that's been a blessing this month. This is my biggest month as a writer right now. April is my biggest month, and I will put my blog in the description box below. But I have my writing, so I've been doing my writing. Very blessed to have been doing it, because, like I said, that is my purpose, to write. My purpose is to write, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to get paid. Well, it's enough to be considered part-time or full-time or whatever, I am just blessed that I'm able to live within what I truly believe is my purpose. And then again, I'm still doing Amazon Flex. I appreciate people giving me other ideas for other delivery apps. Uber, oh gosh. Uber, at least in my hometown, it's not worth it. It's $3 per pickup, and I might have to still drive like 8 miles somewhere and still only get $3. I don't know if it's really worth it for me to go back into doing Uber. I don't have. I think someone said Shipped. Excuse me, y'all. I have allergies. Someone said Shipped, and I don't think my hometown has Shipped. I think I'm actually on the wait list because I think they're bringing it here, but I don't think it's here yet. Amazon is picking up a little bit more. During tax season, it was probably like I was getting like maybe 3 routes or blocks per week. Now it's more like 5 blocks per week. We've been having some weird weather here, like this coming week we're gonna be having rain. So usually, like when it rains, they usually don't give us like blocks for those days. So because like they be having us going like down all these dirt roads and it's just super muddy. I've actually gotten stuck on a dirt road before, and I was like in a complete panic until I realized all I had to do was take my car out of drive and put it in reverse. It was as simple as that. Sometimes it's not even about panicking. Sometimes it's just about taking the time to be patient with yourself. I'm saying this to myself. Be patient with yourself, Tiffany. And sometimes think about a logical solution before you panic. Because if you panic, you usually think the entire world is against you. But like I say, I am in a better headspace. And I don't know, I'm just sitting patiently, letting God just completely control the situation. I'm very hopeful for a blessing when it comes to a new career. I am just tired of the word job. To me, job means dead end. And the devil is a lie. We're talking about careers where there's benefits and there's PTO and there's vacation time and there's sick days, and praying we don't ever have to use those days, but just to have them there, to have bonuses and to have excuse me, to have bonuses and to have a really good salary or hourly wage, to be able to have good and healthy professional relationships at work, no drama, as little stress as possible. Like that's what I'm blessed. I'm praying for right there, especially if I have to like go somewhere to work, go into an office, go somewhere and actually be amongst people. I need peace in my work environment, you know? So I'm just praying and asking God to just, like I say, just guide me towards my next opportunity. And I just know that God is in control, and I'm just not going to just allow myself to be in that headspace that I once was before, because like every day that God has been blessing me, it's been, just more and more blessings coming. Again, I am learning to be okay with asking for help. I have to be okay with asking for help. I have to be okay with asking for help. But this was my therapist's words being put into effect. This to me, in my head, is creative problem solving. You know, me going to the graveyard and getting that, like, I don't know if it's an epiphany, is that the right word? And using technology to guide me, of course with God's guidance, but guiding me into the right direction, that it relieved all of this negativity off of my shoulders. And now I'm just waiting, just in the waiting process. But yes, I thank everyone, the prayer warriors in the comments, the people that could truly relate to what I'm going through. I just thank you all. And I had people in the comments that were like, you need to keep us updated on your journey, and I am. I I don't know what to say. I'm so overwhelmed because I just didn't think that no one would ever know what I was feeling. I really just thought that my video was going to kind of just get shelved from the beginning in YouTube's land. But I really appreciate people coming through and blessing me and praying for me and giving me words of encouragement and sharing your stories and just letting me know that I'm not alone. And I will be coming back very soon. God bless you all.